bros and heroes. Gonna tell you about bros and heroes. Gonna tell you about
comic books, costumes,
facts, boots,
and other stuff.
In this week's issue, World's Finest Wednesday.
Welcome into another World's Finest Wednesday edition of Bros, Foes, and Heroes. I'm Zach, joined as always by the ever so mained one. Mini-mained? Fully mained?
Maimed?
Mained. Like in,
Oh, maimed. As
like,
in, I thought you were saying maimed, as in, like, hurt.
No.
Because I am that as well.
No. Just mained.
Just
like
from deep
like
down
a
of my
lion.
soul, I'm maimed.
Welcome into Bros, Foes, and Heroes. We're a comic book podcast. I'm Zach. He's Mike again. And each week, where we usually focus on a different comic book character, storyline, or just, history sometimes. Yeah, it froze on you again.
Fucker stopped again, yeah.
You couldn't have waited until...
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I gotta
said
bleep
trucker.
it out. Yeah, I gotta bleep it out that early. And anyway...
Trucker!
Earlier this week, we covered Lex Luthor, Man of Steel, if you want to go back and cover that. Also kind of dove into some things I had read this week. But also, we teased what we're covering today, which is another Lex Luthor story, but involving Superboy. Well, this is all to get ready. It's the summer of Superman for everybody. Superman, the movie, comes out just a couple weeks from now, July 11th. And we're getting you ready for it. So All-Star Superman kicks off next week. We're going to cover all 12 issues of those. This is the last World's Finest Wednesday for 2 weeks, because what I'm going to do is, just to make the episode shorter and not just so long of diving into it, is both our Monday and Wednesday episode will be All-Star Superman episodes for that week. Okay. So we'll do issue 1 through 3 on Monday, issue 4 through 6 on Wednesday, and then the next week, 7 through 9, 10 through 12, and we'll do the whole series. So it'll just take us 2 weeks instead of like the last time we did something like this where we did a whole month on Mr. Miracle, which I do not hate because I love me some Mr. Miracle. Anyway, I've said anyway a lot too. Let's get into our story today, which comes to us from What do
you think it took?
Wow, that was a weird thing.
What do you think it took for them to convince people that it's okay to put something called Burt's Bees on your face? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, when I think bees, I don't think, oh, let me put that on my lips.
Yeah, but you think of wax, so maybe you do.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's that part. I don't think a bees is making wax. Well, okay. All right, I got it now.
We're looking at Adventure Comics number 271 from April of 1960. Our cover there is a Kurt Swan cover and Stan K. But we are going to cover a story, which is actually the one that is talked about on the cover. Superboy's first duel with Luthor.
That never happens.
Right? I know.
Usually it'd be like this, and then you go inside, and Superboy is solving the robbery of all the big gumballs.
Exactly. Do you want to know how Superboy met Lex Luthor?
I do.
Okay. Well, our story here is written by Jerry Siegel. I'm about to tell you. Jerry Siegel, who was one of the creators of Superman. And then the penciler and ink is Al Plastino, and editor, good old Mort Weisinger, who was the Superman editor for a long time.
Good old Mort.
But
what's up, Mort?
Mort's no longer with us.
Damn it.
But we have the story here: how Luthor met Superboy.
When he blows real hard, it says JC.
Does it?
Yeah,
I see. No, that's what is that? I think maybe for the. I think it's lines from. I don't know. Superboy is putting
Jesus. I think is what it is.
Superboy is putting together a lab for Lex. Why is he doing something so nice for Lex?
Well, I don't know.
Let me tell you.
And why does Lex have hair?
One fall day. That's right. We're about to find that out too. One
fateful day.
You want me to? I can do it.
It's kind of like the Super Friends
at
thing.
the Hall of Justice.
At the Hall of Justice.
One fall day in Smallville. Well, then I kind of feel like because you can do the Rocky and Bullwinkle. I was like one fall day in Smallville. He does like it's the quiet of some more. Superboy decides to call on a resident newcomer to the rural town. But so what he does see this guy is just driving a tractor, and he's like, that must be him, the curly-haired youth driving that tractor. I'd like to get acquainted, which is a weird phrase.
Wait, say that one more time.
one fall day in Smallville, Superboy decides to call on a recent newcomer to the rural town. And Superboy thinks to himself,
the curly-haired youth.
That must be him, the curly-haired youth, driving that tractor. I'd like to get acquainted.
That is weird.
That is weird.
There are times when Superman very much feels like an alien.
Yeah.
That is one of them right there.
Oh, for sure.
It must be that curly-haired youth.
Must be that curly-haired
I need to get acquainted.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you absolutely need to get acquainted. So, yeah, Superboy thinks to himself, or I guess I should say, this Superboy
he thinks a lot about the curly-haired youth.
He for sure. And this is a young
Just
Superman.
in the area.
In case you're curious, is Superboy and Superman different at this time? No, at this point in time, it's just a young
he
young
hates
Superman.
Straight-haired people.
He just likes
Did you know that?
Well, I don't know.
Hates them.
Superboy. But suddenly, gasp! A kryptonite meteor.
Gasp.
So as he's flying to meet Lex Luthor for the first time, a kryptonite meteor lands right by him, and he's like, it will kill me.
It happens.
In case you didn't know, when the planet Krypton exploded years ago, instance after the infant Superboy escaped the doomed planet in a rocket ship, atomic fission transformed the planet's broken fragments into kryptonite.
Atomic fission did.
Okay. And so that's why. But thankfully, Lex Luthor in his tractor is able to honestly push it off. It does say kerplop. He pushes it off the edge into the ravine or into the gully, and it sinks into quicksand.
Nice to meet you, curly-haired youth.
And so after that, safely beyond reach of the meteor's radiation, he's like, Superboy, I owe my life to you. What's your name? And he goes, Lex Luthor. Meeting you, Superboy, is about the most thrilling thing that's ever happened to me.
What happens to all the aquatic life?
It dies.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, no, kryptonite only affects Superman.
You don't know that.
Yeah, that's true. You don't.
And that's what I'm saying. We don't even think about the fact that you just kerplopped a big old meteorite into the water.
Lex asks him, "Do you like surprises?"
Maybe that's what makes his hair fall out.
No, he's like, "Do you like surprises? Follow me."
Oh, that doesn't sound good either.
And so Superboy's like, "I wonder what he's going to show me."
He's so much bigger than Superboy.
And he walks in, and inside of the Luthor's barn, great Scots, Lex Luthor has a shrine for Superboy. There's this this girder bent by Superboy around an escaping giant gorilla. Or there's this rock with Superboy's fist imprint in it.
Sure.
And a bunch of pictures, right? So there's like this shrine.
Lex, I'm going to need you to get rid of that rock. I wasn't really saving anybody in the middle of that. That was private time.
Lex goes, I have hero worshipped you for years. To me, you're the greatest boy in the world. And Superboy feels like
the phrasing in this thing.
And Superboy's just like, well, golly, I'm really touched.
Golly, you really touched me.
And he goes, what are all these scientific lab gadgets doing here? And he goes, well, I'm a farm boy now, but Superboy, my secret ambition is to become the world's greatest scientist one day.
I'm a farm boy.
I'd like to be as famous as you. So Superboy finds all this just junk laying around.
Well, F that, Lex. See ya.
No, Superboy finds all this abandoned junk laying around. And he creates a state-of-the-art modern experimental lab for Lex.
Well, there you go.
Because he's like, hey,
just like Jesus.
This is where things kind of start to get a little weird, like they had before.
No.
Soon, Superboy returns, and after amazingly swift activity, he goes, I've given you rare chemicals. Some still unknown. Then how do you know about them? They're, but he's like, some still unknown.
He's like,
which I bought.
This looks like a chemical.
That is. He goes, which I burrowed out of the ground. So Superboy's just digging.
Like a chipmunk.
He's like, this seems like a chemical.
Yeah.
This seems like a chemical.
Superboy,
this seems like a chemical.
Weed. That's not a chemical.
But they takes him and he's like, doctors, do you know all any of these?
That's a literal dead groundhog. That's not a chemical.
And he's like, so you've never heard of this chemical. Got it. Lex, this is an unheard of chemical.
My pal Robin told me it was a chemical. Hey, Superman, look, chemical.
Oh, man. There's something I thought of. I read a clip from Tom King's Superman, Up in the Sky, which I still need to read.
Yeah.
It's just every time I try to buy it somewhere, it's always out. But it's on my list. I really want to read it. But
did you look up?
Yeah. But there's one, like, he's with this little girl, Alice, and I can't remember which issue it is, but it's this whole scene of where obviously like she's asking Superman all these questions, which if you were a Superman and a kid, you'd probably ask him all these questions. Because it's like, and it's great. But one of them is like, who's your favorite Robin? And he's like, I don't have a favorite. And she's like, come on, that's a cop-out answer. And he's like, fine, the first one. She's like, why? And he's like, well, because, like Dick and I, like, we're actual friends. Like, he's really, and stuff like that. Yeah. But then it's like, who would win between a fight with you and Batman? And he goes, Batman would. And she goes, oh, come on. Now you're just lying. And he's like, no, he would. And she's like, well, why do you think that? Like, it's just it's a really cool thing. But you just say Robin made that. And
she should have said, like, who's your favorite Robin? And he should have said red-breasted.
Oh.
Like, boom.
Yeah. Just
boom.
Out of
Take
joke.
that, stupid little girl.
But she goes, why do you say that? And he's like, because he goes, fine, I'd let him win. Well, why would you let him win? And he's like, because he prepares really, hard for things like that, and it would mean a lot to him. That's what he tells her. But it's all that you just say that.
And by the way, Alice,
hilarious.
Here's a chemical.
Ah,
just right in her face.
Why'd you spit a dead groundhog at me?
And he plops her right into the ocean.
But so that's the thing to me, getting back to these like chemicals, he's like, I burrowed them out of the ground at super speed. Also, I transferred everything here from your old lab. And he's like, boy, what a pal. But I don't know if he's
I didn't ask you to.
So Lex is like, man, Superboy goes, one word of caution. Be careful with these unknown chemicals. He keeps bringing that up again, which if there's something that hazardous, maybe don't give it to me then.
Yeah.
Right? But he's like, don't worry about it. I'm cleverer than you think. And he decides to create, he tells him that he's very that he's very close to this experiment he's been working on a long time with all this paperwork he has. And Superboy's like, all right, I'm not going to peek, but I want to see it when it's done. And we find out that Lex was wanting to create kind of life itself. And he is able to, with his formula, he created a chemicals. It's at its crude protoplasm, but who knows like what it can do. As you see, like it just grows out of his little test tube over there.
How many times do we need to say the word chemical?
A lot. Well, he's so thankful for Superboy for creating this lab where he was able to like create this amazing experiment that he decides, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull that kryptonite meteor.
Get that kryptonite out of here and kill that kid.
No. And I'm going to make, I'm going to use my chemicals and I'm going to create something that'll make him immune to kryptonite.
Oh.
So he won't have to worry about it anymore.
Sure.
He's like, so he takes some chips off of it and he plops it back in the quicksand when he's done. And he's like, I've ground down the kryptonite chips into a fine dust and blended it with the liquefied foam from that protoplasmic life that I created.
Poor protoplasmic life he's created, just kind of hanging out in the background. Yeah. They're like, now what? What do I do?
Shortly before dawn, in the laboratories alone.
Oh, there it is.
Success! I've succeeded in creating the kryptonite antidote.
There
Oops.
It is.
Cough, cough.
Whoops.
That chemical flask I overturned has set the lab afire.
It just says acid.
But it does. It goes, what good luck. Superboy is flying on patrol. Help, Superboy. And so what he does is Superboy uses his super breath to blow out the flames. As the flames vanish, Superboy enters the damaged alcove expecting Luthor's thanks. But you rat, your puff of super breath blew an acid bottle against the antidote bottle. They broke, and their contaminants destroyed the formula for my great discovery. Not only that, but the gas fumes made my hair fall out. I'm bald.
Oh, no. And now a word from Bosley.
And Superboy goes, but it was an accident. And he's like, don't lie. You were jealous of my genius, so you deliberately broke those bottles and my formula.
Yeah, so take this green rock and stick it.
And he's like, the fire destroyed everything I'd worked on. I don't have any of this protoplasmic left. You just did it because you're jealous of my genius.
Wait, I created all this crap for you, you idiot.
Yeah. And Superboy's like, and the fumes made your hair fall. It's a tragedy. I'm sorry.
Don't worry about your lungs.
Lex goes, sorry.
It's just your hair.
Lex goes, sorry. Sorry won't bring back my discovery. Will being sorry bring back my hair? And Superboy goes, please, if you would just give me a clue to give the formula, like maybe I could help you rediscover it. And he's like, liar. You did this deliberately to ruin me because you're jealous.
You didn't even know what those chemicals were.
And finally, though, Luthor notices that there's a little bit of the protoplasm left in the test tube.
Sure there is.
So he decides to calm down and pretend to be. He's like, I'm sorry, Superboy. Forgive me. I spoke unjustly. I've created a kryptonite antidote. Return tomorrow and I'll prove it to you. And then Superboy's like, all right, that'd be wonderful. Just leaves.
Shove some up in there.
And about that time, like, Lex goes and destroys his Superboy shrine because he's done.
With an axe.
Right?
By the way.
So he does create a very little amount of kryptonite and just enough kryptonite antidote for this thing.
Yeah.
And he lets Superboy take him out to a kryptonite minefield to realize that, oh, it works. It works. All this kryptonite doesn't.
Minefield.
Oh, not a mine, but like a kryptonite asteroid field.
Yeah, take us out there real quick.
And he's just like, oh, it works. Like, this isn't bothering me. But Krypto's out there, right? And Krypto notices, Superboy isn't bothered by the kryptonite meteors. Oh, this must be fool's kryptonite, right? Where it looks like kryptonite, but it's harmless.
What the?
And Krypto goes to fly, and he's like, no, oh, the pain. This is real kryptonite.
Oh, no, not Krypto.
Oh, I guess that he is really immune to it, and he flies off. Do you want to know how Krypto comes back up again? Because he doesn't. I don't even know why he was in it.
Great.
Yeah, that was just there.
He looks weird, too.
And so they get back, and as they get back, Luthor tells them, Superboy thanks him, and Lex tells him, don't thank me, you rat. It's going to wear off temporary. I just wanted to show you what could have happened if you wouldn't have been a jackass and destroyed everything. Wow. You could have been immune to kryptonite forever if you hadn't been so jealous and decided to crush my greatness. And Superboy's like, he's like, Luthor fooled me completely. I really thought that he still wanted to be friends. And he's like, do your worst to me. You'll see. I'll still become more admired and famous than you. And Superboy's just like, okay, whatever. And he flies away. Luthor presents a plan to the mayor to tell him,
this could not have been the original origin of Lex Luthor.
No, Lex Luthor shows up in Adventure Comics number 23. He's like the head of a cult, and he's just called Luthor.
Okay.
Like, this isn't the first time Lex Luthor shows up, no. But he's just like, he's like a generic evil leader back
Mayor,
then. They
come
add
to
on
my
to
house.
it.
Let me show you this drawing I have.
Yeah, so he presents the mayor like this tower that'll help keep Smallville warm during the winter.
What it does is the sun hits it, Mayor, and then it shoots all that down.
Exactly. And
that's my plan.
And it heats stuff.
Uh-huh. So much so that old people choke.
Yep. So,
God's just lighting houses on fire.
Well,
and
no. What it is it does eventually, but at first it just warms everything up. Like other places in Kansas are snowed in, but in Smallville they're just enjoying it like it's summer. And everybody's like, "Oh man, Luthor, your weather tower, man, it's a blessing to our community." They're just praising him. But then he's noticing that, good grief,
Jesus.
Ma and Pa Kent are kneeling over. It's like it's become too hot for them. Like it's too hot outside, and he goes to see that something's gone wrong with the tower, and now it is. It's setting houses on fire and stuff. So Superboy uses his cooling breath.
Pass.
His super cold breath to freeze it, and that causes it to break, and he catches it before it lands on people down there.
Uh-huh. Just
and
barely.
Then overnight, Luthor went from a hero to a heel. And they're like, great scientist, Bunk. You almost burned down the whole town. And then he's like, these ingrate Superboy probably caused the tower's troubles because he's a jealous rat, is what Luthor thinks.
I'm going to say it was 5G, but
probably.
Sure.
But Luthor then, that doesn't stop his ideas. He's like, what seeds we have here. These are miracle seeds, man. There's been nothing like them on Earth.
Boy, nobody has ever tried that scam before.
And so he goes around handing them out for free to Lana Lang. Free seeds.
What a great Tuesday.
He hands them out.
Free seeds.
Yeah, he hands them out to Lana, and it's like, Lana, tell your dad to grow them, and fruit trees will grow overnight.
Now eat some.
And he hands
while I stand here and watch you.
Eat more.
Eat more. No. One at a time. One at a time. Real slow. Pick them up with your feet.
Lex, I don't think this is about the seeds anymore.
Lex, it's not about the seeds anymore. I don't understand.
Anyway, and he tries to pass it off to a farmer who's like, I don't know after your weather fiasco, but fine, we'll grow them. And sure enough, overnight.
It's everything I do. But, you put up that one tower. Yeah. You tried to burn my farm in half. But you're giving away free seeds?
Sure, I'll take it.
Why the hell not?
I don't have to buy them. And so, fruit trees grow up everywhere. Cherry trees, pear trees, everywhere, just overnight.
Yeah.
Well, there's that night, there's a pretty hard rain outside, and the water causes the trees
mean after
to
the
grow
trees
to
grow
dry.
up overnight?
Yeah.
Okay.
That very night,
Uh-huh.
the water in the storm causes the trees to grow giant, and they're starting to crash in and break up buildings and stuff like that.
Luther's fast-ass trees.
So Superboy, yep.
That's what it says on the seed packet.
Luther's fast ass trees. Superboy has to go outside and like rip them all up and like throw them like back towards the ocean.
Yeah. There we
and
go
then-
again. Screwing up the water.
Screwing up the water, and then using his heat vision, he causes all the other trees to burn up. He's got to get rid of Luther's trees. Oh, he uses the seeds that haven't grown fully. He zaps them out of the ground that way.
Yeah.
Once again, Luther suffers the town's disdain. You're a menace, Luther. From now on, keep your discoveries to yourself. Thank goodness for Superboy, or we'd have been killed by Luther's kindness. So he's had enough of it.
No,
Sizzling,
seeds,
yeah,
maybe, but yeah,
sizzling with fury, Luther once more hauls the kryptonite meteor out of
He
the
takes
quicksand.
it in and out like a
And he's
freaking
like,
tea bag.
and he goes, I need you again. And so what he does is Superboy calls to offer his regrets to Luther. And as he walks in, keep your phony sympathy, Superboy. I guess I'll try it in a Bond supervillain voice. Keep your phony sympathy, Superboy. I knew you'd come here to gloat, and I'm ready. See what is behind the rising lead section of the wall? And he's like, oh, gasp, a kryptonite trap. And as the boy of Steel's body is racked with unbearable pain, die slowly, painfully. In this bottle is the last few drops of kryptonite antidote that remain, salvaged for a moment such as this. You can't have it, though. Na boo boo is basically what he says there. And
Also, eat these seeds.
yeah, he's just sitting there just like, waving it in front of his face. And Superboy goes, you inhuman devil. This is the dumbest thing I think I've ever read in comics, man.
Ever.
I don't know. No, I take that back.
Holy
I take that back.
shnikes.
It's not ever. It's not ever.
Okay.
I'm not going to do that to Jerry Siegel. It's not ever. I read Sweetmeats. So
You did read Sweetmeats.
there's a lot more, but it is.
By the way, it is just before you get to that.
Yeah, you're holding off the end. Uh-huh.
Tension. Okay. If you're Superboy,
Yeah.
how do you not see the big, giant kryptonite thing?
When you walk in.
Yeah, on the other side of a wall. You can see through people's souls, but you can't see the
You
big
could probably
green
before
rock.
you enter. Well, I would think before you. Well, okay. He said it was
You'd
behind.
feel it. Yeah.
It was behind the lead section of the wall. The lead was protecting
lead
it. Remember?
section.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But desperately, Superboy uses the very last ounce of his vacuum breath to draw,
Vacuum
to
breath.
draw the bottle out of Luther's hand so that it falls and smashes against Superboy's still hard mouth.
This is so. There's some bubbling eroticism in this entire issue.
A little bit. No, just wait. I haven't read the other part. Because Luther goes tricked. But so basically, Superboy went, and it cracked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all that happened. And it cracked because his mouth is so hard. It broke against his mouth.
Well, he's got a steel hard mouth.
How does he eat?
Steel hard mouth.
Like, he's just breaking forks when he eats,
Yes.
he eats in that.
Yes.
Yeah.
He stopped using forks a long
But here we
time
go.
ago. Yeah.
And
a lot of spaghetti.
And as the precious drops drains down into his throat. That's what it says.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. And Superboy's awesome powers return. And Luther's like, the antidote's effects will wear off soon enough, and you'll never get the antidote again. Go ahead, gel me.
Who
And
wrote
Superboy goes, Jerry Siegel, the guy who created
this?
Super.
Wow. Yikes.
We've read other Jerry Siegel comics.
I know we have, yeah.
Jerry wrote for a long time.
I'm just saying it
Jerry's
takes a
wrote some
lot to
good
write
ones.
the words Superboy's steel hard mouth, and as the precious drops drain down into his throat.
It does when you're trying to think about it the way you are, Mike.
Yikes.
But if you just take about it as Superboy, like you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's how I'm going to think about it. Come on. Even back
Anyway.
then, I can't imagine.
Superboy tells him, no, you saved my life once. Now we're even. I owe you nothing. And he tells him, for your own sake, I hope you will straighten out your thinking and use your brilliant mind to help humanity as I do. And Luther tells him, don't worry about me, Superboy. I'll become even more famous than you, and I'll destroy you too. Superboy flies away awkwardly. Do you want to know?
Baldy.
Do you want to know what he thinks about as he flies away?
Seeds?
Strange. I just realized that Lex Luthor has the same initials as Lana Lang. LL. Will Luthor become a great scientist or a criminal?
What?
And then we have underneath it, Unfortunately, as we all know, Luthor grew up to become Superman's arch enemy and one of the most dastardly criminals in the history of crime. The end.
Wow.
There you go.
And by the way, this is the way Superman flies.
Yeah, well, no, it was more like just like,
yeah, here I go.
I'm
Flying all weird.
Where's Crypto?
Where's Crypto? Who knows?
Oh, man.
Wow. Yeah, that's rough. Yeah, eat these seeds. And by the way, you got a rock hard mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Still hard mouth.
Still hard mouth that caused it to break in.
Well, it's not. Okay, I can get over that. But then to follow it up immediately with as they drip down the back of his throat, like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, that is a little weird.
Yeah.
That is a little weird. Anyway, so there you go. That is how Lex Luthor became bald, thanks to Superman.
I know I screwed up the entire town, but take these free seeds and plant them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, if it wasn't been for that rain and caused them to grow into giants, I mean, it would have been fine.
True. Like in the last 15 minutes, those trees grew up so big.
Yeah. All right, so there you go. That was the first time Lex Luthor and Superboy met. Lex Luthor used to hero worship Superboy, we find out. Quit trying to poke Joe Namath in the joint.
Poke Joe Namath right in the
Thank you guys. As always, as a poster behind Mike, I feel like we need to explain to audio.
Hey, by the
people.
way, if anybody could figure out what the video is behind me,
what are we gonna do for that?
What do you mean?
What
did I get?
I didn't put together comments for this week, but we did get.
Oh, comments.
I forgot to. I'm sorry. It's been a week.
By the way, if you hear me sniffing, I have an excuse. It's my rock hard sinuses.
When you say it like that.
No, I'm just saying. I think I said this Monday, but anyway. I'm just giving you an excuse. I'm not just sniffly and all that shit.
Also, if you haven't checked it out, you might have seen it on the video feed here already, and I probably explained it before we dove into it. But we have a watch-along for the most recent Fantastic Four movie. Not the one that's about to come out in July with Pedro Pascal, but the one before that, the Josh Trank one.
The terrible one.
The one Mike and I have never seen it, and we did a watch-along for it.
There's
so you can just watch it with it.
There's 2 origin ones, and then the one with Silver Surfer. Where
yeah,
Galactus
but those
is a
two,
cloud.
those were the first. There was another one before that. That's like they did to keep the rights that we'll have to watch at some point in time.
I don't know what that one is though.
Yeah, no, it's horrible. I have to show you pictures of it. But so that's the perfect audio. Why don't you watch Fantastic Four with us?
You should. Yeah. We'll tell you when to start the movie.
If we stop it to get snacks or something, we'll tell you when to stop it. Like
Or if we get we get something in our rock hard mouths, like in our teeth,
and
or
we're
something.
Gonna have to watch it with. We'll probably watch it with captions. Just knowing me. Anyway.
Absolutely.
I need it. I'm deaf.
But
thank you guys for taking the time out to listen. Go check that out too, is what I was trying to get to. But thank you guys for taking the time out to listen. As always, thank you to you guys for commenting, for watching, just anything you do. We appreciate it so much. I can't thank you all enough for it. Make sure to check out all the other great podcasts on the Rogue Media Network family of podcasts.
Rogue Media Network.
Nice. And until next time.
I kind of gave up at the end there.
I know. And until next time, stay safe, everybody.
Hey, in the words of Lex Luthor, you got a rock hard mouth, Golly Khan.
Frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.